Live in the lab, Robbie. Are you excited as I am, Robbie, with the special guest we have next on the line?
I am very, very excited indeed. So this is somebody who I've wanted to have on our show for a very long time. It's somebody I respect, greatly in the industry. I think he's probably one of the greatest Redskins experts that we have. He's great on the sideline. But I'll let you give the full introduction. Yes, I'm very excited.
Yes, folks, we have a Redskin legend, Redskin great, Super Bowl champion, Rick Doc Walker on the line. And I got to clarify something before we get him on. I made the video, and I put Hall of Fame on there instead of Ring of Fame, but I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna make that as my push to the Hall of Fame committee to get someone on that great offensive line of the Washington Redskins Super Bowl team in the Hall of Fame besides just one member. And on that note, I'm going to bring in Mr. Walker. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing right, man. But let me tell you, that guy you put in there, you better make sure it's Joe Jacoby.
Yeah.
Big Jake should be he should be in the Hall. And we got some guys that I hope that we'll get a chance to see go in. Pat Fisher, another guy, Brian Mitchell, Gary Clark, Larry Brown. We've got some guys, and hopefully the league will stop hating and give these guys their due.
I totally agree. We're going to go ahead and get into this. I know your time is limited, and this is a great time for football season with free agency. I'm going to let Robbie go ahead and start off the questions, and then we'll bring in another co-host we have, Dujanae Bland, who's also an NFL insider, so we can pick your brain as much as possible in this segment.
Let's do it. Take your time.
All right, Robbie, go ahead and let's start this great segment off with Mr. Walker.
All right, well, I'm excited. Thank you again for coming on and being a part of the show tonight. My first question for you, and this I promise will be our last question about this man, Cousins to the Alex Smith transition. What are some of your thoughts on sort of looking forward for the Redskins, new quarterback, and specifically what do you think that Alex Smith brings to the table that might be new, different, and how do you see the Redskins offense flowing through him?
Well, when you get an NFL veteran, number one, a guy who's a former number one overall pick in the draft, I mean, that pedigree, but he's also, you can watch his body of work. Last season, they opened the offense up. He was considered check down Charlie, but there's nothing wrong with check down Charlies if you're getting first downs and winning games. And so when he got some speed, he opened it up. He proved he's got the arm to make all the throws. I don't necessarily know how much it is about the arm talent. To me, it's about leadership talent. What this team needs is somebody to kick them in the butt and get them over the hump. We've had very talented. The last guy that was at the position was very talented. But we need to get over the hump. We were at the 4-12 marker. Now we're around the 8-9, 9-7, 8-8. That's still mediocre to me. We need to get to the 10, 11, and 12 wins. That's the next plateau, and I think this guy's capable because he's been there before.
Agreed. On that note of with Kurt, I saw that we with the free agency, I should say, I see that we picked up Orlando Scandrick today for 2 years, $10 million. I'm not really sure how I feel about that acquisition. I'm thinking that maybe he will be maybe the slot corner, and he's been injury-prone lately and hasn't really been at the top of his game. What do you think about that acquisition? I had a fan actually ask on the Facebook Live.
What you said is all relevant. I think he took a punt back against us in Dallas. When healthy, the guy's played his butt off. But he's got to be healthy. And if he is, what you want, I want guys that want to prove themselves. Whatever he did in Dallas, that's behind him. I talked to one of my Cowboy dogs today. He said, hey, man, when he's healthy. Okay, right, when he's healthy. So any guy that's a veteran like this, 10-year man, you're looking for experience. What you're buying is he'll make some decisions that may help you win. If his body's right, he's going to be excited. He's going to probably want to play Dallas just as bad as we do. And we've had guys there from the past, and they've had guys from our place that have gone there. It's all about making a living. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. I like guys with chips on their shoulder. I want a guy that wants to prove something. That's why I love Junior Gillette. He wants to prove something. I like guys that want to prove something.
Yeah, I agree. What are some of your thoughts? We had a bunch of new free agents that we've picked up, and I guess from the wide receiver position, a position that I think we were lacking in last year, how do you think that it's shaping up for this upcoming year?
Well, I'm not a paper guy. I'm not a shorts and T-shirt guy. I don't really even get focused till they get to Richmond because I need to see football players in football uniforms. But I've seen Paul Richardson play. We played against him. He's got an edge. L.A. kid. His old man was a Bruin. He started off at UCLA. He went in, got in some issues, straightened his game out, and he can run, and he's competitive. So now it's up to him. Once again, chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's heard what people are saying, so now he's going to come out here, and he wants to be here, and he wants to prove that he can get it done. Second-round kid. I mean, anytime you pick, I think he was the 45th pick of the draft, that's what you're looking for, guys with pedigree, and now let's see if he's willing to work and get that chip off his shoulder. Another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing in Burgundy and Gold.
I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree. I did a quick little highlight video on his body of work last year, and I like the fact that he's on the way up. And a lot of folks was complaining about his contract. $40 million, $20 million guaranteed. And I'm like, $20 million guaranteed. That's not on the books. That doesn't count against the cap. So you're getting a young wide receiver at $4 million a year that is on the rise. That can definitely help this offense with being quick, shifty, and be able to be a game breaker.
Yeah. Don't let the money fool you. Everybody's going to make money now that plays in the NFL. The Stone Age is over. There ain't nobody making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. They're making millions now. So good for them. Now go earn it and go prove that you can do it. Another guy I'm excited about is that we re-signed Brian Quick. I thought Brian Quick got the short end of the stick last season. He's rangy, big dude. Had a big catch in Seattle when he got a big catch in Kansas City, showed that he could get it done. And, again, chip on his shoulder, 6'3", 210. I like guys that want to prove something. People are asking, hey, man, how come you didn't play last year? What was up? And he had Pryor playing ahead of him. And he's better than Pryor in every category. So that's the kind of guys I'm looking for. My team would be full of guys that have a chip on their shoulder.
I agree. They got that hunger and want to win. That's a quick segue into my next question before I bring on Dugenet. I know he has some great questions for you. Junior Gillette, I've been a fan of his. He finally got on the field last year. Looked like he was rounding in back in the some type of form, getting into a rhythm. Do you think the team will try to re-sign him or get the deal done?
With Junior, it's not going to be that they try to re-sign Junior. I think they've got a price for Junior, and Junior's either got to accept it or not. See, because if I'm the Redskins, I got 2 years that I invested in Junior that he did not play at all. So I'm still counting that money. He's not crazy. He knows it too. He's 29 years old. Going next time, it's going to be 30. He came on at the end of the season and showed that flash, that quick twitch muscle that he has, that nobody else has in that unit. So if he can build on that, this would be the season that he could cash in. Now, he's going to have to invest in himself, though, for that. If I'm them, I'm not reaching out no more. I paid you for 2 years while you didn't play. So now he's going to have to forget about the money. I'd want a 1-year deal and go out and prove himself right and get right back in this hustle again.
I agree 100%. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our NHRA / Redskins insider, Dugenet. I know he has some great questions for you. Dugenet, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. A pleasure to be on with you guys.
Hey, Duge.
How you doing, Doc?
I'm
DJ,
good, man.
Dujane, Redskins Wire, USA Today contributor, and Sports Journey Media, NFL, NHRA guy. When you look at this team and you look at both sides of the line there, going into the draft, do you feel that they should draft best need available or best player available or by need?
You know, when you come up on the board, I talk to Doug Williams daily, and you know they're looking at people comes highest value, need and best player. To me, that's the decision you make once you determine who's available. Now, What do they not need is a better question. So for a team that won one game in the division, to me, every position is open. So I'm looking at it like, okay, so let's say there's maybe got 5 spots that are taken. Trent taken, you know, Sheriff's taken, Big Wahoo's taken, Kerrigan's, you know, spoken for, Dotson because he's a 1. I could go through and give you 15 guys. Other than that, it's on. It's on. And so for me, again, but I'm out the box guy. They're in the box. So they're probably thinking defensive line, which I agree. Anytime a pass rusher of unique talent is available, he'd be, in my mind, it's always D-line, rush person, running back, and pass protector that's elite. Because I got to block these freaks. I got to, Cowboys have a guy that's a freak. The Eagles have a freak on the D-line. A freak is a guy that takes 2 people to deal with him.
Right.
And so everybody kind of has one. Well, you got to have somebody block him. Well, we got Sheriff, we got Williams, we got all those guys. So we're kind of cool there. So what's the difference maker? I'm either protecting my quarterback or I'm attacking the quarterback. To me, everybody else is optional. So if that guy, Vita, is available at about 345, I'm looking at him. I think a guy, Payne, kid out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Any defensive lineman of Alabama, and anybody in their front 7, secondary, whatever, if they're available, I consider them. Because it's like getting a guy coming out of SEAL Team 6 training. I already know he's ready to roll. See, I ain't got to take the wrapper off of him. I already know what I'm going to get. So those are always my preferences.
Now, this Hankins coming in and a couple other guys came in today. I understand the Skins have a price, and that's what they're sticking with, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do you think that they're being a little, I wouldn't say, it's one thing to be frugal, but are they being a little cheap as far as this team hasn't had a nose tackle in forever? So it seems like that would be a priority unless they are looking to the draft to fill that need.
Could be. I mean, the only position-specific athlete that I ever look at is quarterback and or nose tackle if I run a 34. They run a 34.
Right.
So to me, you cannot win without a quarterback. And to me, if you don't have a freak at the nose and you run a 34, you're just kidding yourself. You're playing Russian roulette. Well, there are not that many of them. Now,
that is true.
They may have somebody in their mind that they've been Tom Sula, who I have the utmost respect for. He's one of the best coaches I've ever been around. I'll leave that to him. I'll leave it to him. But I'm going to tell you, I saw the kid in there today. He looks good, but, he's in short. He's civilian clothing. But his body of work, we had to block him when he was in New York, and you basically couldn't.
Right.
And so for him, I have never met him. I don't know if there's a chip on his shoulder. This would be his 3rd team in 3 years. How can somebody that good be available?
That's beyond me.
No, but there's something going on that they got to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that don't make sense. See, to me, there's certain people, I call them elephants. They're just not available. Who lets them go? So if something's up,
that easy.
They need to figure that out. I need to know that. And so I'm going to let them handle that. I like my interior people. He's young enough. I like him. He can play. The question is, will he play?
Agreed. Zach Brown, I loved his body of work. I hadn't seen him play in Buffalo, but I heard great things about him. He played very well last year, 127 tackles. He was able to ink his deal 3 years, $24 million. I love the signing. And what do you think is next for the linebacker core? Do they need to address it more in the draft, or do you feel like they have the pieces that they need with Mason Foster coming back, Will Compton with depth, Ryan Kerrigan? He's getting a little bit older. Do you think you looking to draft in that position, or you want to maybe go out to someone in free agency for the linebacker core?
I looked at the draft. If I'm at the 13th, there's a kid out of Georgia I adore. Either one of it'd have to be an SEC kid for me. It's got to be a Bulldog or Roll Tide, or I ain't messing with him. Because I need to know how he was coached. And I know the Strong, how he coaches. I respect Nick. I don't have to worry about the kid's fundamentals. If his body is not torn up, because they go through the gauntlet at those schools. If a guy's there, I might be inclined to it. But since I don't scout them and do it, not my job, that's up to them. They'll figure it out. They're paid to figure it out. But I would always be looking for a guy that can run, that can really run. Zach Brown, to me, could be the best linebacker in football once he makes up his mind to embrace the sport completely, to throw himself into it, to where you don't even see him. He needs to become a hermit. I call it, when I'm going down to get really serious about something, I go in my submarine. He needs to go down there and figure out how he can read offenses, how he becomes a savant on pass sets, because with his speed, there's no reason for him not to be an elite cover guy like Monty Coleman was. I see Zach being a Monty Coleman. He's got the run game down. He's superior in that. I want him to be the best linebacker in football. And for him to do that, it's all about film study and really throwing himself into the sport so that he knows tendencies, so he can anticipate things and use his God-gifted ability to be elite. I'm not telling you anything I haven't told him to his face. For this kid not to realize how good he could be is a sin. So the first step was that. Forget the money, man. You'll make a fortune if you just refine your pass covering abilities and become the best linebacker in the game, and he's got the potential to do it.
Monty Coleman, that was a great name. I used to love watching him play. He inspired me to play the linebacker position. So, yeah, that's definitely some company you want to be mentioned in.
Absolutely.
Now, Doc, when you look at the team as they've brought different players in, and you often speak of guys who are hungry. I know you and B. Mitch on Inside the Locker Room are always talking about guys who, have that appetite to go out and really punch people in the mouth. Do you think that this team now, as they're starting to develop some of these guys coming in from free agency, that they're now going to have this competition where people will have this feeling that they could lose their job to the guy behind them?
I can only hope so. All I can do is hope. Their preseason, past 3 or 4 seasons, we don't start well. I think we're so concerned about protecting people that we don't establish the fact that it's a war. Preseason 6 plays against the Ravens. Then they play 2 or 3. No, we got to go, man. It's football season. You got to build your depth. You cannot be overly concerned about who you're going to lose. You just got to coach them up. And these guys got to go after people. So I think there's a reason why we lose the openers. It's too much dress rehearsal concerned about who's going to get hurt.
Right.
We got to go out and play, man. If a guy gets hurt, next guy go up. That's why I'm so big into building your roster. They were decimated, but they weren't the worst injured team. You know who the worst injured team was? Vikings and Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles were.
And where'd they end up at? So I don't want to hear nothing about no injuries. Build your depth. Make everybody important. Every guy on that 53-man roster needs to believe he can start and will have to start. But if you babying these cats, you know, I don't believe in it. I don't like the new NFL rules. I don't like none of that because it does not prepare you for football. And so the other teams start fast. The Steelers start fast. You know why? Because it's like prison break at their camp. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm looking to see the staff change a little bit during the preseason. And I hope we scrimmage. We didn't scrimmage. I don't like not scrimmaging. I think it puts your team at a disadvantage. We have got to raise the intensity on our defensive side of how we practice.
Agreed, 100%. Now, I know we're going to speak on free agency in the draft, but you mentioned the soft preseasons. I'm kind of at my wits' end with Jay and some of his methods and his run-to-pass ratio that really I feel holds this team back. I know you really can't give your true opinions probably on Jay, but what, as someone that...
Oh, dog. Oh, no. I only do this one way, man.
All right.
I mean, ain't nothing. This ain't no expose. This ain't no behind. This is real talk.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I don't know who y'all had on in the past, but I don't have two conversations. I have one conversation. A man will say anything he wants to say that he would say in front of a man, or he's not a man.
Amen.
I agree truly. That's why we call ourselves DC Sports Other Politics. We cover it, straight to the cuff. All right. Well, I've been on the record of my issues with Jay and some of his coaching tactics and exactly his soft training camps with this team looking like they're a Division III college team in first week of the NFL and the other teams looking like they're Super Bowl champions. What do you think? Do you think that he's going to change up his strategy hopefully this year? And do you think that it will definitely with Alex Smith coming in knowing he's going to need more reps, is that going to force his hand to make sure these guys get out there and get chemistry and, get out there and get to know each other?
All I can do is hope so. People do what they do because they've done it before and gotten away with it. I think Jay is a really smart guy. I do not consider him like a wallflower quarterback guy. I think he's a football guy. And he's been around. You can't be in his family and not have done that. So a lot of times a coach is being told what to do. And don't forget he's a new coach. So the longer coaches are there, the more power they get. And I'm hoping that this year he's going to have enough power to say, hey, here's what I feel. We got to do some things differently. Not a hell of a lot, but you got to turn it up. And then again, it comes on the players. It's up to the players. I mean, Jay doesn't play. And he's called a lot of runs that they've been hit in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that on Jay? That ain't on Jay. That's on the offensive line and the offensive line coach. That's on them. So what we got to do is stop allowing free runners to come through. Sometimes you get beat. Everybody's gets beat. You're going to get beat. But what you want to do is deny penetration. We have got to stop people on the defensive front of penetrating the offensive line on run plays. Now, it's going to happen, but not at the frequency that it's been. I got two pet peeves with our team. One, we have got to control the line of scrimmage in the run game like we do the pass game. Two is that our receivers have got to stop coming up short on third downs. We throw way too many, or we 1 yard shy of the first down. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get people beyond the sticks because it keeps drives alive. It keeps our defense off the field. Those are the only two things I'm looking to see improvement on. Jay's a first-time head coach. I didn't expect him to be Don Shula. But I tell you what, when they give you new money, which he has, got the staff that he wants, he retained them all. Now it's time to go. It's time to go. And I believe he's going to do that because he's got to feel the pressure. Like I feel the pressure. The pressure is We have got to get to the 10, 11, 12 wins per season. That's got to be it, come hell or high water. In order to do that, you got to get everybody going in the right direction. So what we're saying is public, but it's the truth. And if he don't believe, he ought to be a bigger fan of this than us. Hell, he's getting paid for it.
Right. And we mentioned a lot about, mentioned a lot about the bubble wrap kids in this day and age. And it definitely does show on this team, especially with the amount of injuries that this team has had. Coming into this season and this offseason, what do you think has to change in order for these injuries to not just steamroll out of control? And like you said earlier, I mean, everybody has injuries, and we have one team that had more, and they're Super Bowl champs. But what do they have to change to get that done?
Okay, the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff, they do a hell of a job. But again, you have to ask yourself, I put it on the players. Some guys can play through pain, some guys can't. Some injuries, you're just not going to avoid them. It's NASCAR on cleats. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the Eagles lost their Pro Bowl left tackle, the the linebacker, their special teams star. They lost one of the best dual backs coming out of the backfield in the game. And they lost their quarterback, who would have been MVP, in my opinion, NFC. And they're kissing the trophy. Mm-hmm. So that's all I need to know. So, hey, the Vikings lost most of their line in and out. It killed them on their offensive front. They lost their back, Seminole, gone for the season. They lost their quarterback. I don't want to hear it. I know it's a reality. But if you hinge on that, I think you make your team weak. We played with backups. They beat the Seattle Seahawks with an offensive line. They had two guys. I didn't even know who they were. And I'm on the field covering the game. And they won. So they're showing you that they got it in them. They're capable of pulling it out. What we need it pulled out on a more frequent basis. And we just got to play harder. We got to push harder. It sounds vile. I know it sounds bad. But it's the only way you win. Everybody that wins pays a significant price. It's not easy. That's why the winner's circle is small.
Right.
And so it's just a process, and you got to get through it. We hated our practices were horrible. Everybody, we hated it because Joe, it was 40 plays a day. I mean, Joe never backed off. So you just got to learn how to rise to his level.
Right.
You think? I'm just telling you, and we got a lot of guys who get this. We do. Trent Williams, man, dude plays hurt. He's all pro injured. That's how good he is. But the off season, they work their butts off. They're not slackers.
Right.
These dudes work. They work. You just got to fight through it. You got to get through it. I don't blame injuries on anybody, anything, nothing. I mean, now if you're a slob, you out of shape, that's different. These cats, they don't have one guy with his belly hanging over his belt anymore. That's over. These dudes work. Now it's time for them to cash in, but what they got to learn to do is fight as a unit, not individuals, but as a unit. And that's the hardest part about winning, is the dependency that it requires from every guy, from the first guy to the 53rd guy. Everybody's got to be tied to the string, and if your string breaks, you won't win.
Great. That's a great analogy. That's a great way to put it. I know your time is limited, so I want to wrap up with a couple of quick draft questions. With the addition of Alex Smith, and as you mentioned, he's a dink and dunk guy. Get the ball to the playmakers and let them make plays. I know that I've heard that the draft is deep with some playmakers, and I love that they addressed the defense last year with drafting 5 players and hoping they go with the same formula, get some playmakers, but address the defense. How do you see this team going forward, looking into the draft?
Again, with Doug and Bruce and Jay and what these guys coming in with their plan, I mean, the draft to me, what a process. I mean, you got all these people. You don't know until you own the clock. Now, they evaluate. I've been watching this all since last year. I have a real good feel now for the process. And it required, they got about 12, 13 scouts in the building. They got people all over the country, like everybody does. You don't know who's going to be up when your number's called, but you got to have a feel for it. They got a board. They talk about the board. They rank these guys. I think the combine's a joke. But I'd love to go there for the interviews. The only thing I want to see is the interviews. Because I got film on the players. If that combine sways me, then that's my fault. That combine will mean nothing to me. I'm looking at the film. I got a guy, got 10 games, 12 games, 2 years of film. That tells me who he is. But when I talk to him, then I get to find out who he wants to become. And there are a lot of knuckleheads that just, their minds, now they're not ready for it. I'd pass. So, yeah, the guy may run 4.4, but Coach Thompson taught me a long time ago. A lot of guys can do it. The question is, will they do it? Jerry Rice ran wherever he ran every time he ran. Every time. A lot of these other guys, if they're feeling good, they do it. The weather's right. If the turf is right. See, that's what I'm talking about. Guys like Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders, James Arthur Monk, Santana Moss. See, I'm talking about warriors. I mean, them dudes are a cut above because they play hard and they play hurt. You know, and that's I know it's a lot of pressure to mention those all-stars, but that's what we got to hope these guys aspire to become. And it takes time. But I'm not patient. So I think if you can't be patient around grown men. You got to make sure everybody's on edge, to me. If it's too comfortable, guys will they'll just slack. They got your buddies, your relatives, your mamas, daddies, everybody telling you how great you are. Well, you need some guys pushing you at all times to make sure you keep that edge. You ever watch Westbrook play for OKC?
Yeah.
In hoops?
Like a man possessed.
You think somebody got to go tell him, hey, man, this is really important tonight? Dude,
no.
The dude is a savage. Every night. Every night. He's already rich. He's already rich. You can't tell. You can't tell. Michael Jordan made $30 million one year. Kobe Bryant made $24 million. You couldn't tell.
Hungry
you couldn't
every
tell.
night.
That's my point. Those dudes, now I know it's not fair to use those guys as an example, but I want to make it so our listeners understand what I'm saying. It's the guy. What makes Westbrook such a savage? I mean, you watch the Beard play. I mean, this dude, he looks like he can score 100 points a night. Every night. When have you seen him have a night off? See, and now who makes them that way? They develop that, man. That's they train themselves. You know, dude, you're not born with that. You develop that, man. Them guys are hungry.
Right.
How can Westbrook play like he's broke every night? He's filthy rich. See, that's why I love boxers. That's why boxers are my favorite athletes. They're the only multimillionaires that get hit in the face for practice.
Right.
And every time you see them, what do you see them? They jogging. They hitting the speed bag. They jumping rope. Floyd Mayweather never stops training.
They
see,
stay
that's what
hungry.
you got to get these young boys to understand. You got to work on your game, man, around the clock. No days off. You got to be working on your game if you're a baller. If you're getting paid, you're not working a job. These cats ain't in school. They don't go to class. They don't went to park 8 to 10 hours every day. And a dude have a mental mistake? I go, what? See, I don't understand that. I don't understand it because I've seen the process. I've been through the process. It's always the guy, James Arthur Monk. He ran every night after practice. He had a weight vest he used to wear, 15-pound weight vest. In Arlington, you go by the school, he's out there running. Who's that out there running? James Art Monk. Hall of Famer. Ain't nobody had to tell him to go do it. The dude was a fanatic. You know, I don't think you can be well-rounded and be great. I think you have single-minded purpose. You got to be focused. You know, that's why I always say when I talk and I talk to sales groups, my people, I say, I'm not looking for average or ordinary. I'm looking for misunderstood and exceptional. Because everybody's got a story. We just got to connect with them and unleash that beast that's inside of them so they can do this. Everybody can do it. It's just people don't know how to make themselves accountable for it. And so you need someone else. That's where coaching comes in. From Little League to Pop Warner to AAU, there's always some guy. I got 15 people that have influenced my life. It started with Little League, Jim Womack. Little League. We went to McDonald's every time we won. We were 18-2. I cried like a baby when we lost them 2 games. Because I was driven, man. I was a lunatic. Losing. I was 25-0 at 13. Yeah. Because I had a maniac coach, Herman McCulley. Well, he told us before the season, we will be undefeated. I'm the best coach. I pick the best players. We will not lose. I'm like, what? That's what I'm telling you. I'm not talking trash. I'm telling you what I've lived. I'm telling you what I do. I'm telling you what I see. All of this stuff can be controlled, but you have to learn how to take advantage of your God-gifted ability. And then you have to enhance it with knowledge. Get around people know more than you know, who can help you bring that out of you. It's not going to just happen because you're trying. You got to be in the right environment, the right situation. And then you got to put some jet fuel to your life and say, man, I ain't going to stand for this. Otherwise, you're just going to be average and ordinary. It's too easy not to be. It's easy. You know how many golf balls Tiger Woods hits when his back's not hurting? Do you know Tiger usually leaves, he'd win or lose at a major the next morning at 6 a.m.? He's banging balls. But now with his back, he didn't do it this time. Last 2 events, he's resting, trying to let his back heal. The dude's an animal, and he's climbing back. And I love watching it. I love watching greatness as it matures, this process. And all our teams in this town have it. You know, Wizards. You see Bradley Beal the other night?
Yeah, we just
grown man. Grown man the other night.
Grown man.
Grown man. Enough of this, he said. Enough of it. I'm going to just take the damn game over. So he took that next step. See, I love Bradley Beal because the Celtics tried to punk him last year in the playoffs. Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
He bounced back up. You saw what happened against the Clippers. Boy, and he bum rushed him. So he got that dog in him, man. He got it in him. And now it's coming out. And they're doing it. All of our teams have it. Max Scherzer with the Nats. He got dog in him, man. You see him throw his first game in spring ball. Dude striking out 12. He's a freak. The dude's a freak. And you got to have him around you, man. Then you just model him. You hang out with them dudes, man. You train with that dude. And all of a sudden he elevates a team. You know, and so that's what we're talking about, man. You got to have some dog in you. I don't care how much you make. Nobody cares. Who cares? I want to see a performance, man. That's why these NCAAs, man. We're watching these NCAAs. UMBC. They win. St. Bonnie beat my boys out. Because my boys came out there and thought them initials on their chest was enough. And they got run their butts back to Westwood. Because them boys wanted it more. Loose balls, what? You see Texas You see, I'm watching A&M. They were like a pack of wild animals.
Yeah.
See, they don't give a crap about your pedigree, your one and dones. They're playing like a team. A team will beat one and dones. One and done will get paid, but his team ain't going nowhere. And so that's what I'm talking about, man. This is about, you ain't got to be the best. You ain't got to do, what you got to do is be the guy that just refuses to lose. You just refuse to die. Somebody got killed, you take you out. You're not going to wilt. The hell, we played the Giants the last game. That was pathetic.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, pathetic. And that's why I said, man, I ain't hating on nobody making money. It's about money. Get your money. But don't come out and lay that egg them last 2 Giant games of the year. I don't care who you are. You're going to run up talking about what you want, what you think you deserve. You deserve to get the hell out of my face. See, if I was running over there, they'd all be gone. No,
right.
Man, this is because I'm telling you, man, our teams that won, we had the best talent. You don't have to have the best talent. You got to have the most dogs on your side that play smart. And that's it.
Agree, totally. You dropping some nuggets of knowledge out here tonight. I know you got to get ready to go. You have time for one more question, or you got to get ready to get out of here? I know we went a little bit over the time we had slot.
It's all right.
All right, Dujanay, I'll go ahead and let you wrap up this great segment that we have with Rick Doc Walker talking Redskins and sports and everything DC. I love it. I appreciate it, sir. And Dujanay, go ahead and finish up this great segment.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Appreciate your time, Doc, and all your wisdom that you shared with us tonight. And I just ask this final question. When you talked about a character, guys that are character guys, when you interview them, because I don't like the combine either. I think the interview process, and I think the Senior Bowl is a better deal.
Me too.
Do the Redskins have those guys, and what is it going to take because it is a different generation, from when you and even me being a 90s kid and graduated in 99, that they have nowadays. What is it going to take to draw that dog out of those people, to get the best out of them so that they can perform to the best of their ability, so that as a team they can have that never say die type of play on the field?
Well, you got to get the right guys in the room. Then your leadership has got to be consistent and everybody on the same page. It's so simple when it's one goal. If everybody in the room agrees that our goal is to win a Super Bowl championship, in order to do that, you need to win the division. You need the week off. You need to play at home. It's no secret that the quickest way to the Super Bowl is 2 home games. And in order to get that accomplished, it's week 1. And then you got to slow yourself down and play it into quarters. 4 chances in September, October, November, December. And so you don't have to win them all. And you're not going to win them all in 1 week. But what you have to do is put it in the quadrants and then say, we got to be the best we can be right here and right now, because every week you come out, you don't have the same team. We saw that last year. Neither did the Eagles. They didn't have the same team. So what? So that backup quarterback, that backup tight end, that backup outside linebacker, every night he's got to see himself as a starter. He's got to train like the starter, eat, sleep, and drink it like he's a starter. Everybody has got to be competing, in my opinion, to play in every game. You got to be essential so that you take that with you at home. And then there's certain things about temptations in life. I don't care if it's Friday night and you got a night off. You got to make a decision. And all of us have been there. Hey, dog, I'm going to hit the club, or am I going to go watch another reel of film? Because I got 6 months to hit the club. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than hitting the club with a Super Bowl ring on. That's the best way to hit the club.
Exactly. Yes,
so you
sir.
say to yourself, all right, I got to sacrifice. And I ain't against the club. The club is good for you. The club is good. Everything is breaking it. You need to balance your mind, and you need to relax, and then you need to get back on that salt and train. So it's a give and take. But we get too many young guys put the club first. Well, you ain't going to win. Because in the end, we need you, and you done forgot an assignment. The kid Ryan Grant that signed with Baltimore and now may go to Indianapolis. I love that kid's work ethic. Never missed a practice. Never saw him miss a game. Never said a word. All he did was work. Need a guy to cover a kick? I'll do it. Need a guy to catch it? I'll do it. That's what I'm talking about. And so when you get that many guys together, not worried about they got to have an earring in, is their gold chain isn't hanging out right, I get rid of all them. See, I don't care what you do after the game. You can jump out that joint like Superfly. Go for it. But during the game, man, it's all about the uniform. Wear the damn uniform and go out and compete. If you worried about how you look, you ain't my guy.
Amen.
I agree 100%. We've always spoke about, players that want to live the NFL lifestyle but don't want to put in the NFL work. And unfortunately, that is a trend nowadays, that they want to have the bling-bling and the flash but don't want to put the work in to become the best athlete possible and help that team get that real bling-bling, that Super Bowl ring.
There you go. All I'm saying is that the choice is yours. And if you don't get it, you don't get it for life. I mean, who would want to go? I just don't understand. I'm still trying to get over how you lose to the same team twice in 1 year. I'm still trying to figure that out. How you get swept by somebody in your division. I'm trying to figure it out. A split is admirable. Okay, all right, good, I give you that. But I got to beat you in the playoffs. But if you're not that competitive, you ain't going to get it done. You'll just roll over.
Totally agree. Well, Mr. Walker, I appreciate your time. This has been one of the greatest segments on our show. Hopefully we can do it again. I know it's about to get busy.
Absolutely.
But we definitely going to stay in touch, and whenever we can get a chance to get you back on, let us know, and we definitely will keep in touch and definitely get this done again, because I greatly appreciate your time and learned a lot of great things from you.
I appreciate your hustle. I appreciate your hustle, because that's what I had to do. It's been 25 years for me, man. I started locker room at MAL. I work on weekends, with a vision. And so that's how it starts. And J.J. Green, who's at TOP, that was my dog, man. And we sit in there for hours, man, cutting tape, putting sound behind it, doing that sound, locker room, all that stuff. You got to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain, because this is what it's all about. Not sitting back waiting on somebody to hire you. Build your industry. You guys are building your car, no different than Henry Ford. You building it. And then you got to roll it. And so it's an honor for me to be a part of it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very kind words. Once again, Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge. Thanks again, sir. I'll let you get back to it and enjoy your night, and you have a great night, and we'll be talking to you soon.
I'm going to pop a top in your honor.
Thank you.
You got me speechless. I don't get speechless much or very often, but I don't know what to say. I appreciate those words.
Later.
Later. You have a good night.
That was amazing. I really appreciate Doc for joining us and being a part of that special. I mean, that I learned so much in 40, 50 minutes now. I mean, the fact that he was able to give us so much time it's a really a blessing, and I found that interview to be fantastic. So I just want to give you and Dugenais credit, but also Doc. I mean, he's one incredible guy, and I really appreciate his time tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and my fault, Dugenais. I'm going to go ahead and end this Facebook Live feed. I know you guys have been waiting to get to the March Madness talk. We hadn't expected to get Doc on for that long, but I definitely appreciate his time and those kind words. I'm going to go ahead and toss it to Dujanay. I know you got a lot of things in the works. We're going to be doing some projects in the upcoming weeks, but Dujanay, give a quick rundown and let these guys get ready to get to the March Madness talk.
Yeah, I was going to piggyback off of what Robbie said there. You know, this weekend I had a wonderful opportunity. I enjoy covering the NHRA, but Doc reminds me of a drag racer that I spoke to a lot this weekend. Because he not only won, but he was number one qualifier, and Jack Beckman. And the knowledge that he spoke about when it comes to the cars is the same thing I got from Doc. Just the insight about the sport, about what's going on out there on the track, on the football field. It's just second to none. So, it is a blessing not only for us to be able to be a part of that, but for the Sports on the Hill fan base to be able to hear that. That's something you don't get all the time. Very candid individuals in interviews that are willing to be so open like that. And very, very appreciative to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, wow. I look forward to clipping that up and sending that around for people to listen to, because if they missed it live, they got to listen to it some way. It's going to be it's a really powerful piece, and I'm happy that we were able to produce that tonight. And Dujanay, I loved all your videos this past week, and I encourage people to go to your page and check out all that great racing content that you've done. And I really appreciate all of the Redskins insight you've given us over the last couple of weeks and months. And I know we're bringing season 2 to a close next week, but I can't say it on my 1-year anniversary, but I really appreciate all that you have contributed to our podcast as well, and I look forward to a really exciting season 3 with you in April.
Yeah, man, it's I same here, and I kind of echo what Doc said. You know, we're all out here trying to work and build a brand, and as he said, you know, we're building mountains out here, and we're not waiting for anybody to give us a handout. And like The Rock says, you don't go and knock on doors. I like kicking them in. So we're doing that, and I'm just glad to be a part of it and be able to help out someone else who is doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, beating the streets, kicking down doors, and creating opportunities to be great. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to share on your stage as well.
No problem. As always, appreciated, Dujanay, and I had the same sentiments as Robbie. We've gone back to when I first started blogging and you were doing your thing, and we met on Twitter, and we've been rocking for about 7 years now, and it's great that we're able to work together. Just on a quick side note, Doc just emailed me back saying if anybody wants to hit him up on Twitter with any questions or comments, you can hit him up at RickDocWalker on Twitter, and he any questions or comments you have or anything you want to talk about Redskins, hit him up. He's very social media friendly, and he will get back to you. We exchange emails on a regular basis now, and hope to have him on again. So it's definitely great to have him on, and I'm definitely going to celebrate after I get off, Robbie. I know you got to wait a little bit longer after March Madness. I know you're going to celebrate a little bit tonight, but I feel pretty damn good right now, Robbie. That was one of the most epic 45 minutes of my sports broadcasting life right there.